OER. OER will very soon be a popular three-letter acronym amongst teachers, students, educators, and stakeholders of education in Fiji. OER, which stands for Open Educational Resources, is a concept that is part of the latest educational revolution in digital literacy. A 2-day workshop has been organized for curriculum development officers of the Ministry of Education to learn more about OER. Held at the Japan Pacific ICT building, the workshop was organized by the E-Learning Center of the University of the South Pacific and supported by the Fiji Higher Education Commission. This was officially opened by the Permanent Secretary for Education, Mr. Ponipati Tiko.
Let me share with you, ladies and gentlemen, that we all search for guarantee in quality as consumers. Quality standards can be assured when we take the initiative during an initial stage of process to develop a set of standards which we may measure our product against to achieve quality and assure that we meet customer satisfaction. In open educational resources, according to UNESCO, OERs are any type of educational materials that are in the public domain or introduced with an open license. The nature of these open materials means that anyone can legally and freely copy, use, adapt, and reshare them with their partners. OERs range from textbooks to curriculum, syllabi, lecture notes, assignments, tests, and so forth. What I found in the last OER workshop that I attended was that Fiji is in the heart or in the middle of the Pacific, and the whole Pacific region would be looking to Fiji most often to provide the penetrating move in all educational initiatives. And earlier this year, ladies and gentlemen, the adoption of a national policy on OER by Fiji. We salute Mrs. Rambuka and her team for paving the way forward for the Ministry of Education. We find that in defining the purpose of our pursuit, we made it clear initially that quality is not a negotiable component, but an integrated necessity. But to justify national ownership, we needed to highlight in which national strategic statements on OER and its global concept becomes an integrated partner in sustainable socio-economic development. As I mentioned earlier, our location in the region is decisive, and it's one of the important facts that we should always be aware of, that if Fiji is lagging behind, the whole regional small island states would also lag behind. Most of the things in advancement of research and educational findings, Fiji seems to be the paving nation amongst all island nation states.
The director of the Fiji Higher Education Commission, Mrs. Charlotte Rambuka, deserves special acknowledgement for the acceleration of OER in Fiji. Her effort with her team saw to the endorsement of the national OER policy by the Minister of Education. This was also history in the making for Fiji to be the first in the Pacific to have the OER policy.
It was back in April 2012 when there was this regional policy forum for Asia and the Pacific. That was held in Bangkok. It was actually facilitated by COL, Commonwealth of Learning. And it was really for policymakers. And I'd like to thank the Ministry of Education again for sending me to that forum. My chairman was not very keen on getting me out there, but I said, you know, they're paying for everything, so why don't I go? I had not heard about OER. Now, I was there with Dr. Shikaraturi, who's sitting right here, she can remember. But that was really my first encounter with OER. Now, when I got back, I said, no, I have to do something about this. Cannot just come back and do nothing. OER, as was discussed in Bangkok, has had so much benefit for the countries that had tried it and had used it in their schools and higher education institutions. But when I did come back, I could not help but be working with the USP because they were also very interested at that stage. They had people coming into the USP that they invited from overseas, experts. I don't remember all their names, but they always extended to us an invitation. And we always came, we came always to these sessions, and they were very, very interesting indeed.
The 2 days was a discovery journey for most of the participants.
Well, it's been quite an interesting discovery journey. We've taken the people from the Curriculum Services Unit into a discovery of what OERs are all about, and I've been really impressed by their willingness to learn, for their, maybe just saying the aha moments that happened. A number of them said, now I get it. Okay, that's good. So it's been really interesting exchange of information and views. We've talked about the theory of OERs, we've talked about the practice of OERs, we've gone searching for OERs. So now we're bringing that all together in the wrap-up so that we can say, where do we go to from here? So it's been a really interesting journey. I was really impressed today with the timing of things, so it's just fitting in so well with what the Ministry of Education is doing and the e-learning portfolio, the e-learning portal that's coming up, the members of staff that have been developing their own training material. It's just the right time. Really impressed with just the right time.
Thank you. To me it is really exciting because now we are teaching children who are children of the millennia. These children are punching keys into the computer, they're punching keys into their tablets without even recognizing the words and the letters and the values of numbers. So this is the way forward because we are now using digital literacy to impart the knowledge, the content that we really want the children, not only the ones in our classroom, in our locality, but all throughout the Fiji. Whether you're up in the interior or you're out there in the islands, you get the message exactly the way you want it. And I think this is the way forward. Fiji going through this is, I think, will benefit a lot, and also our neighboring Pacific Islands.
Thank you. This workshop has been awesome. We got an opportunity to learn about open education resources, and especially about the copyright issues regarding open education resources, things that we can use and things that we cannot use. And then we also come to learn about preparing our resources, which includes the videos and PowerPoint presentations that can be used by our teachers and our students in the schools. Yes, this is the first time for me to learn about it and to learn about the copyright issues that is behind it and things that I can do and things that I cannot do, and also on how I can improve on the work that I was already been doing in preparing the videos, the e-learning resources, and the PowerPoint presentations with voice-over PowerPoint presentations for our students.
Thank you.
Why Fiji Higher Education Commission has been asked to come and work with the two groups is because open education resources was, we can say, established in Fiji through Fiji Higher Education Commission, including the current national policy. So the Fiji Higher Education Commission role, which I played during this this workshop, is to support the University of South Pacific in the dissemination of the information, and also to consult and provide new ideas on how open education resources may be used for supporting teachers in Fiji. The feedback that's been coming from the participants is great. The vibe is so positive. They're now moving into working groups on building this up. The most surprising of all is that we discovered that teachers, CDU officers have already initiated their own open education resources without them realizing they are creating open education resources. I think what we're actually doing here now is just giving them direction and allowing them the space, the dynamic space in being more open about what they create in Fiji context.
Of course, we're happy to help Fiji, but my goal is to say, what can we do for the whole of the Pacific? So when we come out with our recommendations here, we'll be taking the recommendations from Fiji to the rest of the Pacific and say, Fiji has recommended this thing, this is how they're going with it. What do you think about that? So we're trying to spread this out around the whole of the region, which again shows that Fiji is the hub of the Pacific. It's the knowledge hub of the Pacific. It's advanced in these areas, so it's good from Fiji point of view as well.